Ramath, man, you have been through a whirlwind over the past few months, and I do a little salute right now to you.
Appreciate it.
And and not to just be like to make light of anything. This is really serious what you've had to endure. And can you just share briefly, what your family has gone through over the past couple months? Please do.
My wife and I both were diagnosed with COVID-19. I'm an essential worker. She ended up passing COVID-19. I survived COVID-19. My wife ended up passing COVID-19, but before she passed, she delivered our son, Zephaniah. And that's basically the gist of it, what we have faced over these last couple of months. The death of my wife, the birth of my son, in spite of the death of my wife, and surviving COVID-19 and living out my life after that.
That's pretty powerful what you just said, that I didn't know that you were also an essential worker too. So we're going to talk about that also during this time, but it's once again, my condolences. And, David has, that's how we got connected is, I've been constantly thinking about you and what you've gone through. When you first found out about your wife, was your wife the first to be diagnosed with COVID and then you next, or how did that happen?
When I found out my wife had COVID-19, we went to the hospital first and we both got diagnosed together. She was in a separate part of the hospital because she was an OBGYN, so she was pregnant at the time. So I went to the adult emergency room, and then she went to the, the woman's, children's pregnancy hospital for their emergency room. So when we found out, honestly, I really didn't think none of it. My position was that, okay, we got it. We're not gonna die from it or anything like that. We're not gonna. I was like, God gonna see us through. So I had like almost a blind faith reaction, because I'm thinking like, oh, this is nothing. Like, we got COVID. They say, I honestly, I didn't take it as serious either. I mean, don't get me wrong. I wore a mask and I did everything I was supposed to do. But when they said that we had it, my response was like, oh, well, like, we'll be all right. And so when we found out, that was my thing. I was like, oh, okay, well, I'm like, we got it, So my mom was like, are you going to make it public? And so we was kind of like debating whether or not we're going to make it public. We needed as much prayer as possible. So we decided to, make it public. So we decided to put it on Facebook. But for the most part, when we found out, I was like nonchalant, like, oh, well, we got it. So, oh, well, we'll do our little quarantine and I'm sure God will bring us through. And I was basically not really worried at all,
So, yeah. And so basically you said you were not worried. You really had, just had faith. You believe, we're going to be fine. Like, how did your wife handle it? Was she a little nervous or,
She was a little nervous. She was, apprehensive at first, Now, the funny thing about it, like, I'm not going to say I'm a strong person, but I can kind of say I'm a man's man. So sometimes when my wife in pain, she don't like to tell me because I react like a man react. Like,
rub some dirt.
Yeah, get some juice, drink that and go from there. Like, okay, it's no big deal, blah, blah, blah. Just, get the juice, get the ginger ale, and, we're going to be fine. So she didn't want to tell me. So she didn't really tell me how she felt at first. I had to hear how she felt from other people because my position was usually, oh, okay, we're going to deal with it however it may go. So she was nervous. She was scared. She was really scared. She was really worried. I found that out later on, but she didn't tell me that initially. I kind of found that, from speaking with, her mom and her dad and stuff like that. So she didn't tell me that first. So she was just cool, like, okay, it's okay. But okay. So I found out that she was really nervous and and really scared, from other people, because
Mm.
usually my position was, like, we gonna roll with it. So that's kind of how I've been operating. Like, oh, we just gonna roll with it.
Now, David, you and Ramath got connected. How did you all get connected through this whole process?
Yeah, my mother-in-law actually served as a mentor for Sierra, for Ramath's wife. And so I had known Sierra when she was younger. She came by actually a few times and babysat a couple of my kids, but I hadn't seen her in years. And then we got a call. She spoke to my wife's mom in May. She gave a call and said she had COVID and was in the hospital. And so me and my wife and my mother-in-law, we prayed for her. And, we thought that, just as Ramath said, that she would come through this, and we were praying. And then my mother-in-law, who's Mrs. Wade, got connected with Ramath, and she started talking with him and praying with him. And then in the course of that, she just gave me the phone one day, and she said, I want you to pray for this young man. Sierra, she's going through what she's going through. Would you pray for him? And through that, God just connected our heart. And that's how Ramath and I met. And I wish we would have met some other way, but that's how the Lord brought us together. And God just began. I couldn't imagine, man, if my wife was going through what his wife was going through. And so, man, my family, we just started every night, man. We were praying for them. I would call to reach out to this brother any way that I could help. But that's how God initially kind of brought our paths together through the midst of him going through this trial that he was dealing with.
Okay.